أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. We saw that this month it's already been 2 weeks of Shahr Ramadan, and this month is a month in which many things happened which distracted many of us. So Shahr Ramadan is meant to be a quiet, a spiritual month for the soul of the person, for the heart of the person. But what we saw is that much injustice started taking place. We saw that a war was started, displacing many people, whether in Iran, in Lebanon, and other countries. And many of the Shia believers, they are suffering now. Either some of them are dead, or they've lost all of their livelihoods and houses. You saw in Lebanon the scenes of families camping on the street because they do not want to get bombed. So unfortunately, these distractions, they pull us away from the dhikr and focus. And me as well, I'm guilty of this. When this happened, I'm checking X, BBC News. I'm trying to check the news to see what the updates are, especially when some of us have families in these countries. So it distracts us away from what? The dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. And there might have been a purpose that these people did such actions during the month of Ramadan, to distract the believers. So Laylatul Qadr and these types of nights come for situations like this, where we try to focus on ibadah despite all of the distractions which exist in the world. And this is a rich chance to reconnect to Allah Azza wa Jal and do His ibadah and try to have a good destiny for the next year. Because Laylatul Qadr, of course, means what is translated. Laylatul Qadr, destiny. Qadr is destiny. The night of destiny, that's which will come later on. So people ask the question, they say, okay, how is it that I can change my destiny on this night? How is it, for example, Allah, He says, next year, Fulan is going to be like this, he's going to have this rizq, he's going to be in this situation, he's going to obey me or not obey me. Does this not contradict free will? You know, the irada that a human being has, the hurriya that they have for their actions. Does this not contradict this? Inshallah, we'll answer this. So these are the questions in this lecture tonight, and this is what we're doing now. This is part of Laylatul Qadr. Knowledge and learning something, of course. Maybe you will know all of what I'm saying, but learning something is part of the a'mal of Laylatul Qadr. Ilm, gaining knowledge. So questions we want to answer is, when is Laylatul Qadr? Why is there 3 different dates? How was the Qur'an revealed? Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an. How was the Qur'an revealed Shahr Ramadan, but then over 23 years? If our destiny is written, Allah decides what's going to happen to us. How does that go with free will? You know, are we forced now? Has Allah forced me because He says I'm going to be a certain way next year? And how do we change our destiny tonight? Also the angels, tanazzalul malaika. What does it mean when the angels come down? What's the meaning of this? And how does Laylatul Qadr prove that there is an Imam al-Hujjah, Imam al-Zaman? How does that prove it? Inshallah, we will answer all of this, and also how, finally, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. That Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. Now, in terms of Laylatul Qadr, you know, we have the 19th, 21st, and 23rd, which is tonight. The 23rd, there's a lot more emphasis in the riwayat about this night. But we know that this could be one of the nights of Laylatul Qadr in one of these dates. And when it comes to the Sunni hadith, they say the last 10 dates. They also don't know the exact night, but they also do some type of a'mal that they have. Now, firstly, the difference sometimes comes when ahadith differ. Or in tarikh, in history, you have a date of a certain person. It says they died on this date, they were born this date. These differences sometimes exist. For example, Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, when we see her istishhad, her martyrdom, what do? We commemorate it on various nights based on narrations. But even if you do all of them, no problem. You'll still get reward for that. And you're trying to find out, okay, which martyrdom it is. So firstly, different hadiths. This is why, in terms of Laylatul Qadr, we say, okay, it could be one of these 3 nights that we do. But there's a hikmah from Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why the dates are different. And he says, مَا أَخْلُ مِنْ أَنْ أَكُونَ أَعْلَمُهَا فَأَسْتُرَ عِلْمَهَا. So he says what Imam Ali, basically this is an extract from the hadith. He says, I may know it, so I know the actual date of Laylatul Qadr, or he's telling us that indirectly, but I conceal it. So why did Allah make these 3 nights and why he doesn't tell us? Allah has hidden it for you for your own benefit. If you knew it, you would only focus on one night and neglect others. I hope, God willing, that you will not miss it. So Imam Ali, what's he saying? If you knew the night of Laylatul Qadr, you do all your worship then, you might be doing less worship on other nights. Whereas now you do the 3 nights, there's no problem. It makes you do more worship. So it encourages more worship when there's more nights for you to try get which one is the Laylatul Qadr. It prevents spiritual laziness, so you're not lazy. Because of course many of us, we sit through an hour dua, we sit through the salah. It is tiring. I was in a majlis the other night, there read so many du'as, the back is hurting. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Discomfort can be good for someone. So it prevents from spiritual laziness and it increases efforts for us and sincerity. So when we speak about Laylatul Qadr, this surah comes to mind, Surah Al-Qadr, where we say, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. So let's get a bit of the meaning of this surah. What does it mean? Because we recite this in our salah. Many of us has memorized it. But what's the actual meaning of this? So when it says, Inna anzalnahu, the who refers to what? The Qur'an. And how was it revealed in one night? We'll answer this. When it was 23 years, it's also revealed. The next verse, وَمَا أَدَرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. What makes you know what really Laylatul Qadr is, this special night? This is emphasis to show you how great this night is, which encourages reflection and motivates you to do ibadah. So firstly, let's go in how the Qur'an was revealed on Laylatul Qadr when it has 2 years. When it has, 23 to 20 years. So the Qur'an has 2 stages. There is the gradual wahi, the revelation which comes down slowly over the 20 to 23 years. And what? The instant wahi, the one that comes straight away. So on Laylatul Qadr, we say that what? Firstly, the whole Qur'an was revealed on this night. But where? Some people say the Baytul Ma'mur. What's Baytul Ma'mur? They say a special place in Jannah, a physical type of place, that the Qur'an, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, that the Qur'an was revealed in the Baytul Ma'mur. This special place above the Kaaba in Jannah. And it says that 70,000 angels in the riwayat, they visit this place, and it's it's built with pearls and these kinds of valuable things. So that's one opinion here. Some people also said that Baytul Ma'mur means the heart of the Prophet. That the Qur'an on Laylatul Qadr, it came down to the heart of the Prophet, to the soul of the Prophet, to understand the reality of this. And we find verses in the Qur'an where it says, فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِكَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. That Allah, He revealed it on the heart of the Prophet, the whole Qur'an, all of the Qur'an. So Sheikh Saduq, one of our scholars, the best classical scholars, everyone knows him. What does he say about this? He says the Qur'an was revealed to the Prophet in a general way. So on Laylatul Qadr, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, all of the Qur'an was revealed what? To Baytul Ma'mur, which was the heart of the Prophet, that some say. So this is one opinion on this. Then it was over 23 years. So if any of you read history, hadith, you know that when a certain incident happened, an ayah came for it. You know, you can't marry this person, ayah came for it, you can marry this person. Go to war, don't go to war. Many contexts, the ayah comes for it. So why is it that it was revealed all on Laylatul Qadr? This is gradual revelation. Gradual revelation. What's the reason for this? So the Qur'an came to transform Arab society. You can't tell everything someone in one day. Like I recently wrote a book, which alhamdulillah was published, is for new Muslims. If I have a guy that says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and I bring him in, I say, okay, you can't do this, and this, and you have to, if I try to teach him all in one day, he might run away from the religion. And some converts had this. They become Muslim, but maybe they become Salafi, Wahhabi. They say, Akhi, this is bid'ah, this is shirk, this is bid'ah, this is shirk, you can't do this. And they use angry approach. And this person 2 months later, he's left Islam. He's become, an apostate from Islam. So same with the Muslims. When Allah, He does the wahi over 23 years, there's hikmah. The Muslims before that, or the Arabs who were not Muslim that time, they used to bury their baby daughters. They used to kill each other over animals. You disrespected my animal, or you killed my animal, I'm going to go to war with all your tribe. And then when the Asha'ir, the tribes or whatever, they have a fight with one person, the other ones come and back them up. So the Qur'an, yes, it was revealed to the heart of the Prophet in one night, but it was gradually revealed to the Prophet so that the Muslims could learn. Because also memorization. Now you find the Qur'an is memorized by so many people. Some people tried to burn the Qur'an, and there was one person, he went in front of the Turkish embassy, I think it was Kurdish or something, and Turkish Cypriot maybe, and he tried to burn the Qur'an. But even if you burn all the Qur'an, it's in the heart of the people. So the Qur'an revealed gradually what happens. Muslims are able to memorize it. And also we find that the Prophet, he knew the Qur'an. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يُقْضَى إِلَيْكَ وَحْيُهُ. So what does the Qur'an say? Do not hasten with the Qur'an before its revelation to you is completed. So Allah's telling the Prophet, you may know these verses or it's been revealed to you in a general way, but don't say all of it at once. So sometimes Rasulullah, he knew what? This verse is going to come. It was revealed onto his heart. So the Prophet had an idea of this. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. Some Malaysian guy at my work is Christian. He says, inna anzalnahu fi Laylat Al-Qadr. Or nahnu, it says in the Qur'an. Why does Allah use we? When Allah uses we, nahnu, it means Allah is free now. He says, yeah, this backs up the Trinity. Allah is many because he says nahnu. I said, come on, don't say this ridiculous argument. I said, in language all the time, we use plural. I'm writing a book, I say, we read in the last chapter so and so, etc. That is what? A type of glorification. It's a type of metaphor, or not metaphor, but everyone understands you're not talking about more than one person. This is a type of language used in the Qur'an. Sometimes Allah says, An Allah. He says, I am Allah, worship me. And at other times he says, Nahnu, what? For grandeur, to make himself, to show the bigness of Allah. So I said to him, even in the Bible, you read the Bible, it uses we. He said, yeah, that's because God is free. Well, he's one and free. And I said, okay, so why did God only worship God? Why did Jesus, alayhi salam, Isa, he worshipped God? Does that mean he's worshipping himself? Another one came to me as well and he said, Rasulullah, your Prophet was scared when the first revelation came down. And I say, okay, let's say he saw an angel, he's scared, what's the problem? I said to him, but your God was scared. You say Isa alayhi salam is God, but he's on the cross saying, oh Father, help me. How do you answer this? He says, I bring you my best priest tomorrow. I said, okay, yeah. I said, bring me your priest and we'll discuss on this. So nahnu shows what? Glorification of Allah. Now again, someone asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and they said, how was the Qur'an revealed over 20 years or 23 years? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he said it was revealed in Baytul Ma'mur. So this is in narrations, this place in Jannah. Then gradually to the Prophet. So inna anzalnahu fi Laylat Al-Qadr. Allah revealed the Qur'an to the heart of the Prophet Baytul Ma'mur in one night and then revealed it gradually over years. The next one, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. So what does it mean? That deeds are better, more than 1,000 months. Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months. We say that firstly, worship and deeds on this night are better. You say, how's this possible that my worship on this night is better than 1,000 months? Now we read in the hadiths that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he said that deeds are better than the deeds in during 1,000 months, whereas there is no Laylatul Qadr. So Imam Sadiq says that yes, deeds are better in this night. Because Allah Azza wa Jal, for example, you do certain deeds, you pray in Masjid al-Nabawi, you pray in Masjid al-Haram. What does Allah do? He gives you more reward. It doesn't mean that He hears better when we say, okay, Allah doesn't hear me as good in this place or that place. No. Allah does this, He gives special reward for certain places that you go to. You go to Masjid al-Haram, you pray, it's way better than obviously a normal masjid. You go ziyarah, you pray in the shrines of the A'imma, it's better than other places. So on this night, just like praying in one place is better than praying in others, deeds on this night are better than other deeds. And again, for example, we see a narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam where he says, increase and establish your prayers in the mosque of the Messenger of Allah. For one salah in this mosque is equal what? To 1,000 salah in any other mosque except Masjid al-Haram. And he said 1 salah in Masjid al-Haram is equal to 1,000 salah in my mosque. So similarly, Laylatul Qadr has more weight. So what are some of the deeds now? Sadaqah, the first one. You can give anything you want, £5, £10, £100, £1,000. Sadaqah is one of the recommended things that we do on this night, which has reward for us. And I'm going to mention in this lecture the unseen effects of sadaqah and what it can do to us. And let's say you don't have money, sadaqah can be actions. Helping brother Ihsan with the majlis, that can be an action as well, helping him set up. Sometimes he has to set a lot of it up by himself. So you say, even if I don't have money, I'm a student, you can help brother Ihsan with the majlis. It's important. Contributing to the majlis is a sadaqah jariyah. This majlis gathering together is important. There's some families, they complain years later, there's no majlis, their kids they go to inhiraf, they become to deviancy because we didn't build up a community. So sadaqah is one of the acts. Recommended ghusl. So ghusl, you don't see the unseen effects on your soul. You do ghusl for Laylatul Qadr, it gives you a spiritual benefit. Third, a'mal from the Qur'an. Some people say, why we put Qur'an on our head? Some of Nawasib Salafis, they say, oh, you're juggling the Qur'an in your head, you're having a balancing competition. But these jahils don't know that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said this. This is tawassul through Qur'an. Allah Azza wa Jal, He puts cure in certain things and He puts shafa'a and tawassul. The Qur'an, the physical Qur'an, there's benefit for this. There's benefit in something. Sometimes you get saffron water and you write a dua. You write some of the ayat or du'as of Allah Azza wa Jal. There's benefit. So this is a type of tawassul with the Qur'an when you place it on your head. And it didn't come from nowhere. It comes from the narrations. Remembering Imam Mahdi, number 4. This is another thing that we do on this night. Because with the current events happening in the world, we say we need Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-hujjat ibn Hasan. We recite Dua al-Faraj. And we ask for the reappearance of the Imam. This is one important thing we do as well. Seeking istighfar, du'as, as the brothers read the beautiful dua of Dua Joshan Kabir. Again, Salafi Nawasib say to us, you don't call on Allah Azza wa Jal, you call on your Imams, you commit shirk. Why don't you come to Laylatul Qadr and see what we do on this night? Were we not just calling upon Allah Azza wa Jal for more than 1 hour? That's what we were doing. So this is important that when you recite these du'as, it connects you with Allah and it strengthens your Tawhid. Not doing some bid'ah, other bid'ah hasana and some other salahs that they innovated from some of their second caliph. No, reciting the du'as from Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, which calls directly on Allah and strengthens your ibadatim. And seeking knowledge, number 7, as I mentioned, as we're doing now. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. So we said deeds, a'mal. There's another narration. Rasulullah, he had a dream that some qurud, some monkeys, they were going on his mimbar. So Rasulullah, he was very sad about this, that after his death, people would go on the mimbar that they're not qualified. And we saw that as well. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he had to confront the second tyrant Omar when he said, Inzil an mimbarin abi. Get down from the mimbar of what? My father. Because the wrong people went on the mimbar. So Rasulullah, he saw this. And then this symbolized Banu Umayyah, that Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. These 1,000 months, it corresponds to what? The rule of who? The Banu Umayyah, which was around 80 years to 83 years. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got a revelation of Surah Al-Qadr to comfort him. That don't worry, that all of this unjust rule, or even of 1,000 months, it's nothing compared to the believers who worship on this night. Even if corrupt rulers dominate for long periods, one night of Laylatul Qadr is greater than decades of what? Worldly rule. So this surah, Laylatul Qadr, it was revealed what to the Rasulullah? To comfort him. Because he saw that after his death, these people would go on his mimbar. And we see this until this day now, that many unqualified people, many people who hate the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, who hate the Shia, they've gone on the manabir, the mimbars. So the next verse is verse 4. تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. The angels and the spirit descend therein by permission of their Lord. Okay, so where do the angels descend? Point 1, تَنَزَّلَ indicates continuity. So Laylatul Qadr was not one time in history. It shows that it is every year for us. It's something that continues. So تَنَزَّلَ indicates repetition. Laylatul Qadr is not only the night when the Qur'an was revealed, it's a recurring event, and the angels come down now here, which shows a connection between this world and what? The unseen world for us. So descend to who? So someone asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that, okay, تنزل الملائكة who? And he said, من عند ربهم على محمد وآل محمد بكل أمر سلام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Imam Sadiq, he says that what? The angels, they descend upon the Muhammad and wa ali Muhammad. What's that mean? What do you mean the angels descend to them? They inform them about many matters of this dunya, about the believers, about the oppression. Don't we say that a'imma are shuhada? The imams are witnesses. They are informed of the acts that we do. So the angels come to tell them what? To tell them the divine decrees and what will happen in the world. And this proves Imam al-Zaman how? Because there has to be a living imam that the angels go down to. The next question, someone comes, okay, tanazzalul malaika, the angels descend, and the ruh. What is the ruh? Is this another angel or not? When we go to our narrations, we see that some people say that it's Jibreel, he's the ruh. But no, the narrations that we come to on this, it says what? That Jibreel is what? One of the angels, the greatest angels, or the greatest angel of them all. But the spirit is a creation. وَالرُّوحْ خَلْقٌ أَعْظَمْ مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. So the angels descend, and the ruh, which is some creation, we don't know its reality, greater than the angels. This is what some of the ahadith say about this. So the angels descend with this great creation according to the narrations. And then again, why do the angels descend? They say the decrees and what will happen to certain mu'mineen. For example, Hajj. I applied 3 years ago to go to Hajj. I tried my best with a Shia group. Saudi decided to bring a new website, kept crashing. I think I clicked 1,000 times to try and apply for it. All the groups were not clear. And then finally, when I found a group, they cancelled our visas and flights for no reason. So according to the narrations, the Imam says what? He says, one who it's not written to him to be from the Hujjaj, the pilgrims, in the night of Laylat Qadr, and it's not written for him, he won't be on Hajj that year. So one of the things now, if you want to be on Hajj, you make dua to Allah that make me among those who go to Hajj. If it's not written for you on this night, you will not go to Hajj. So this is one of the things that the Malaika come. They say, they communicate with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and they say, Fulan, for example, will go to Hajj, or the other person will not go to Hajj. So again, according to narrations, what? The angels come, they say about the divine decrees, those things which will happen. They talk about who will go to Hajj. They'll talk about your rizq. Are you going to become a millionaire this year? Or are you going to be broke? Or is your rizq going to be okay? They're going to talk about the lifespan and death. They will inform the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam when you will die. Will you die this year? Or inshallah ta'ala, all of us in this room will see another Shahr Ramadan. And about the major events. So now comes the question, okay, Allah's decided this. Is this not forcing me? Is there not free will? We have a qa'idah from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. لا جبر ولا تفويض بل أمر بين الأمرين. Imam Sadiq said there's not compulsion, there's not delegation, but a matter between the two. Imam Sadiq, what's he saying here? God doesn't force you to do some things, but you can't choose all of your destiny or where you came from. For example, did you choose to be born in the country you're born in? No. Can you choose the color of your skin? No. So you can't choose some things in life, but some things you can choose. And if Allah forced us, there's no point of doing anything. If I'm a robot, why do a good deed? If someone puts a gun to me now and says, pay sadaqah, I'm doing it because I'm scared of him. So you have to do it from your own free will. So Allah doesn't force us. Angels, they don't do haram. You know, they're created in a special way. But at the same time, we have control on some actions. Can you control going to the toilet? No, you can't. Eventually, if you drink too much water, you're forced to go to the toilet. You can't control that and say, no, I have got free will. No, eventually you'll have to go. So what does this mean? That means that Allah forces you in some things and compels you in some things, but not to do haram things so that you end up in hell, or you end up in Jannah where there's no merit to this. So we didn't choose where we're born. We didn't choose, for example, you know, what even family we're born in, what country we're born in. These are some of the things. So how do we understand this when it comes to Laylat Qadr? If Allah has knowledge, it doesn't force you. Now this is an example, maybe you heard it. The teacher, in a class, he writes a report. This student's going to fail because he never does his homework, he doesn't study. The teacher knows he's going to fail. He can study that kid, but he chooses not to. Does the teacher have knowledge of this, force the kid to fail? No, it doesn't force him. Just like Allah, he's got knowledge about what I'm going to do tomorrow, where I'm going to be in future. It doesn't force me to do those actions. I have conscious free will. I can take a knife, make some nice kebab and cut some meat with it, or I can take this knife and stab someone. I have now conscious free will. I'm speaking, I'm moving my hand. Allah doesn't force any of that. So of course Allah knows, but just like the teacher knows that student might be a failure, He still gives him a chance. Allah likewise still gives you a chance. His knowledge doesn't force you to do that. So just like on Laylat Qadr, Allah decides something for all of you brothers and sisters tonight, it doesn't mean it's always going to be stuck that way. You can change that. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. Brothers, if you want. Yeah, so if it comes to, I'm going to explain two of the decrees. So we say something's hatmi and something is ghair hatmi. What does this mean? Some things won't change at all no matter what we do. Yawmul Qiyamah is definitely going to come. We might not know the time it's happening. Imam Mahdi is definitely going to come at one point. We don't know the timing of it, but that's not changeable. The death of every human being, all of us are going to die. We're just delaying it to some extent, right? Or we don't know when we're going to die, but maybe you can take care of yourself. You have some health benefits, you eat healthy food, that might contribute to living longer. These things are hatmi, they won't change. Qiyamah, Imam Mahdi coming, your death, all of them will happen 100%. But in terms of changes, ghair hatmi, what can you change yourself? Lifespan, you can change that, all of that's in your hands. Yeah, there's the physical things. If you're going to eat junk food 24/7, let's say smoke, drink, that's something you're contributing towards, maybe an earlier death. But there are also a'mal that you can do for this. Rizq. They say, okay, why am I not getting a job now? Okay, what are you doing to get rizq? Are there certain actions you're doing to prevent that or give you more? We'll speak about this. And also protection from calamities. It might be that you were driving somewhere and you were meant to die at that moment, and Allah Azza wa Jal saves you. Or even some people, they commit suicide. I had a friend in Iran, he overstayed his military service, so he got bipolar, inshallah, heal him. So he jumped off a building and the doctor said, I don't know how you're alive. He survived it because he got depressed and he regretted it after that. But everyone was shocked how high that was, he still survived. Because ultimately death is in the hands of Allah. If He wants you to die, you'll die. You can try to commit suicide, you can try to do something like that. Some people take an overdose, but they still don't die. So what are examples of this? Let's show some examples according to narrations. Imam Sadiq, he says that there was one person called Maysir, and when he was younger, he would used to do good deeds. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he saw that this person would have a longer life, and he said, what deeds did you do? Maysir, he said that when I used to earn 5 dinars a day, from my labor, I would give it to my maternal uncle, a type of sadaqah. So because of this sadaqah, his life lengthened. Example 2, Imam Kadhim, there were 2 brothers fighting. And when it comes to inheritance, the amount of families that fight each other and curse each other over this, you hear too many stories of that. So there were 2 brothers fighting about a house. And Imam Kadhim warned them, if you keep fighting over this and you do qatr rahim, you cut with each other, your relations, it's going to lead to the death of one of you. So what happened later is that the person asked the Imam about his own death. And the Imam replied to him that your death was decreed. So you've done qatr rahim with your brother, you're arguing. But the one deed he did, showing kindness to his aunt, lengthened his life. What happened after that? And the Imam predicted and said that your brother now has died on a journey. Why? Because your brother did qatr rahim. From that good deed, sadaqah or kindness you did to your aunt, your life was prolonged. You had a longer life. But because your brother, he cut off, relations with you, that caused death for him. So what's the point here? Your destiny, just like on Laylat Qadr, there are certain actions which can lengthen your life or shorten your life. Examples of the Imams, another one. Imam Kadhim told someone, you were going to die. You showed kindness to your relative. Another narration. Again, showed what from his action, it lengthened his life. But sins can also affect destiny. Now I want to tell you, brothers, a story from my friend. He was a hotel manager. And it's a bit of a sensitive story, but I need to mention this, inshallah. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Muhammad wa ala. قال رسول الله إذا كثر الزنا بعدي كثر موت الفجاع. Rasulullah, he said, when zina becomes widespread after me, it will cause what? Motul faj'a. Motul faj'a. It will cause instant death. So Rasulullah, he says that it will increase the deaths because of this one thing of zina. So I remember my friend, he was a hotel manager. He gets a call from his colleague. He says, you need to come up to the room now. There's some woman, she's having a heart attack. She's having a heart attack. So he gets his staff to go up there and they use a defibrillator. That's used to bring someone back to life. You know when you do CPR and you put it on them to try make them alive. They go up to the room and there was a man there and a woman. And A'udhu Billah, the woman was unclothed. My friend who's a Shia, he saw this, hotel manager. And he said that the guy was worried and the woman died in that moment. They couldn't bring her back to life. So after that, the police came because a death has occurred. And they thought, okay, maybe this guy, he's the husband of the woman. He's her husband, right? The phone starts to ring after that. And the police say, okay, you the husband of the woman, we need to take some details. After that, they picked up the phone and they saw that it was the husband of the woman. A'udhu Billah. So that woman had committed adultery with another man. And at that moment, her maut came. Her death came instantly. Does that mean if someone does haram, big dhunub like this, are going to die instantly? No. But the hadith of Rasulullah says, when zina increases, sudden death will increase. So that means that this sin, what has a spiritual effect? This woman chose to do such a bad sin, and Allah Azza wa Jal took her life in the moment. And my friend, he had to witness this. So this shows that what, just like sadaqah can increase your life, certain sins can make you have instant death. We think, okay, no problem, I'll do tawbah tomorrow. But what if you don't wake up? What if Allah Azza wa Jal tries to take your soul just at that moment? So when I heard this story and I read this hadith, I said it reminds me of the hadith. That when zina increases after me, that sudden death will occur. And may Allah protect us all from the major sins. But this is a reality, a spiritual reality that we don't see. And again, other ahadith, it mentions the consequences of certain spiritual actions, right? When people cheat and they start cheating each other, if any of you have been to Morocco or any other country, you buy stuff, you get some people that try to rip you off and charge you double, right? So it says that Allah sends down shortage, drought and hardship. Maybe there's a shortage of food and certain commodities. Why? Because people are cheating others. The narration says when you withhold zakat, the earth loses its blessings. So now there's another drought, rain is not coming because people are not paying their zakat. There's a spiritual thing here. When you break family ties, according to the hadith, wealth, it goes to the zalimeen. Why are all of these rich kings oppressing their people and they have most of the wealth, or the Epsteins or the 1% of the world? Why? Because many people are breaking family ties. That's one spiritual effect according to the narration. And then again, Nahyan al-Munkar. This is a hard one. Sometimes we're embarrassed. Yes, Nahyan al-Munkar has shurut. Nahi as munkar, as they say in Farsi, you don't do it all the time. But let's say you see your friend do something wrong. You shouldn't be embarrassed where you have haya that I'm not going to tell him. Yeah, if you see there's no benefit and you've spoke to them before, okay, you don't need to speak to them. But when people start being embarrassed to tell their friend something wrong, then it's a problem. I saw one brother one time on Instagram, he posted a clip, and I know he's a religious brother normally, and I'd want him to do the same to me. I said, Akhi, this clip is not good, you should delete it. Alhamdulillah, the brother deleted it. But if I had to be embarrassed, I didn't want to tell him at the beginning maybe because it's awkward, but I said, no, I'm going to tell him to prevent evil. So when people don't do nahi as munkar and amr bil ma'ruf, what happens? Evil people are allowed to rule over them and the wealth goes into their hands. Now again, sins remove barakah, they bring societal consequences, and actions can increase or decrease the blessings or taking away blessings in one life. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. So salamun hiya hatta matla' al-fajr, the last verse, what? Peace, it is until the rise of dawn. This shows that this should be a peaceful night for the mu'mineen. Yeah, you strive, you sit through the du'as, there's a bit of discomfort, but from that discomfort you'll get peace eventually. This is the last verse of Surah Al-Qadr which mentions this. Now on this night we speak about the Qur'an and we put the Qur'an on our heads. And we seek tawassul to Allah Azza wa Jal from the Qur'an. But during these nights, what happened to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Mawla al-Muwahhideen? What was put on the head of Imam Ali alayhi salam? Instead of a Qur'an being placed upon the head of Imam Ali alayhi salam, it was a night where the sword was struck on the head of Imam Ali alayhi salam, where someone struck his head with a sword. We placed the Qur'ans on our head, whereas Imam Ali alayhi salam had the sword. laced with poison put on his head. So in these nights we remember Amir al-Mu'mineen. We say this is a night of the Qur'an which was revealed, whereas Imam Ali alayhi salam was the walking Qur'an. Who did they pursue next after the Shahada of Rasulullah? The same man who defended Islam in every battle, the same man who fed the orphans and the widows of Kufa, the same man who never turned away a needy person from his door. Yet how did they repay the kindness of Ali ibn Abi Talib? They waited until Amir al-Mu'mineen stood before his Lord in the darkness of morning prayer. The Imam began Salat al-Fajr in Masjid al-Kufa. He went into ruku and then he went into sujood. And as he placed his blessed forehead on the earth and said, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdih, Abdurrahman ibn Muljim la'natullah alayhi struck him on the head with a poisonous sword. The sword struck the same head that Rasulullah used to kiss of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Blood began to flow from the head of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the Imam cried out, Fuztu wa Rabbil Kaaba, by the Lord of the Kaaba I have succeeded. The Imam was carried from the mosque to his house while the people of Kufa cried and shouted. When his family saw him in that state, they began to weep. But the Imam said, have sabr and be content with the decree of Allah. The assassin Ibn Muljim, he was captured and brought before the sons of the Imam. The Imam spoke to Imam Hassan alayhi salam and he said, oh my son, treat your prisoner with kindness. Give him the same food you eat and give him the same drink you drink. And if I die from this strike, Ya Imam Hassan, then strike him once in retaliation, but do not mutilate him. Do not cut up his body, for I heard Rasulullah forbid mutilation, even of an animal. In these final moments, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was teaching what? Justice and mercy. The poison of the sword, it spread through his holy body, and the children sat behind him crying. The Imam opened his eyes and looked towards the heaven and he said, I see the messenger of Allah, I see the malaika preparing to receive me. The moment of departure grew and the household of Rasulullah began to cry and said, Wa aliya wa imama wa sayyida tahaddamat wallahi arkanul huda. The pillars of guidance have been destroyed, and the soul of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was returned to his Lord. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. We remember Imam Ali alayhi salam, the walking Qur'an, in this night, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us all of the decrees, the good decrees for the following year, and for our actions to give us the husnul aqibah and the good decrees in our lives for the dunya and the akhirah. Salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.